I never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion.
But to a small thing which was I couldn't complete in the last class. One thing is about to how to create WAR file and why do we create WAR file, and then a very small stuff that is command line argument handling in Spring Boot. So after doing these two topics, then today we will have the basic introductions about microservices. How do we create them? What are the different tools required? The basic knowledge, their needs, advantage, disadvantage, and so on. That is, we will have introductions on microservices today. Okay. So now, as you know, you must be knowing about command line argument concepts. You will have those concepts already. You would have, I think, created in core Java. That is when you run your Java applications from command line, and during that, from that line itself, if any kind of information, initial parameters needs to be passed to your application at the time when it is going to launch. That is the concept called command line arguments, and we'll see how we implement that is important stuff. Okay, let me launch my Eclipse.
Sir, I have some doubts on the last class.
Okay, you tell me first.
Sir, as we developed the configuration file yesterday and we
Okay,
deployed it, but let us assume a situation that we need to provide some data through some sort of XML or a properties file. Then how will do that?
that will be having a problem into this. So for that, we will not use this kind of configurations. One thing is we will create for that in our jar before creating jar file. We will have to specify property file or something like that, and that property file will be supplied along with the jar file. The same, the jar file in the directory where there will be jar, the same directory should contain that either XML or property file.
Okay, sir. Okay. So will you demonstrate that someday?
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do
Okay.
it sure.
Okay. Okay.
So let me browse. I have created, in order to avoid confusion, I have created like a new folder called Spring Boot Microservices. And today is our, I think it is our 16th day class. That is why I have given the folder name 16 day 16. And from today onwards, because every day we will have some unique kind of coding and thing. So that is why every day I shall make folder day 16, day 17, and so on. And for that particular day, whatever code we develop, we test, that will be within that folder. Folder will be zipped and uploaded on the Google Drive. Okay. So let me select this folder and launch. Let me close it. So we are going to create a Spring Boot project. So best thing is we'll go to Spring Initializer, and Let's give some group ID and CMD demo. I'm just giving the name because we are demonstrating command line argument concept. So the name is meaningful. Then selecting the persons, add these dependencies. This is the most fundamental thing. It's first thing. First we have to do. We have to add this string web dependencies and then press. If all the settings are done, press Control to generate. So CMD demo. I'm going to download in today's folder what we have made. Where is that? Inside Java code, I think we have. Then Spring Boot day 16. Okay, save. So it got downloaded. Then, as you know, that you have to uncompress, do double click, and extract. Things are visible. Okay, that's it. We got this. And next, what we have to do, we have to import it into our project. Import. Then we have Maven based project, existing new. Then we have to commands. We got this. It is checked automatically. Then it's okay. Then press finish. So our project is getting ready. Now it is installed. Then, as I said, in the SRC file, SRC folder, we have CMD demo applications created. Okay. Now, in order to handle the command line request, in order to handle command line request, there is an interface called. Now, where the command line, how the command line works, from the knowledge of core Java, you must be knowing that when you supply commands that will be stored into this args variable as an array of a string object. Okay. Now, that concept is common, but the crux starts from here, that when whatever the argument is received from command line is passed to the string application. Remember, the control is not directly in our hand, into our hands. The parameters, command line parameters, that is arguments, is applied to a string applications. So now there is an interface called command line runner. So that I need to implement in order to create this, in order to handle this stuff. So we have to write implement command command line commands is not giving any suggestions. Now it came command line runner. Okay. Now this command line runner is an interface, and as we all have the concept that interface always contains abstract methods, and those methods needs to be overridden. Just press here. It gives you suggestions that it is a method which is unimplemented. that method needs to be implemented. So just press it. Eclipse will help you how neatly we got this methods of interface. So command line runner is having the run interface. That method is being overridden over here. So we are overriding, in fact, the run method of command line uh, interface. So the argument which is received at args variable of the main function is basically passed to the Spring applications actually. So there is a command line runner interface in Spring Framework dot boot. So in Spring Boot framework, there is an interface, and this method will get that array of arguments applied from main to this Spring applications and back to this. Now we just use those arguments. So right now I'm just going to print them. Okay. So I can use directly that iterator for loop version. We know that it is array of strings, so I'm just associating that args along with this. So very simple. This loop keeps on iterating as many as number of times of the length of the args array. And just I'm going to syso. I'm just going to print and see what masses basically we have. Let me also display masses over here. Okay, so I'm just writing string boot app star. That's it. Okay, now let me save, and now before running, just we are running by using this IDE. We are not directly typing on CMD so that we can type the those arguments parameters. So how these parameters are passed, command line parameters. For that, you have to click on your project, right click. The project name is CMD demo. This is the project name. Do the right click. Here we have run as. Go to run configurations. This we have also used yesterday. Okay. In that run configurations, there's new launch. Once now it came. Here the applications what is running is. Let me close it once. Okay. Then press right click, run as configurations. Here we have actually this is showing. Let me run first without of any parameter setting. Now since we are not passing any arguments, any parameters, and without setting any parameters, if I run, what happens? Let's see the behavior. Simply it comes here. You know that since there is no string path, doesn't iterate even a single time. In that case, as we know that there is also a attribute called length, and I'm just doing that check. If args dot length args dot length is equals to 0, that means no argument has been supplied. No argument is applied. Otherwise, we are having this discuss. Okay. All right. Let me this braces is missing. That is why it was having error. Now it's okay. Everything is fine. Let me close first and re-execute. Relaunch the application. Look here, the message what we are getting is no argument is supplied. No argument is supplied. Once the argument is supplied, we will not have this kind of errors. It's not basically error. If argument would have been supplied, then it will go to else part, and then this else part will execute. Let's try one setting. Why it was not coming? Run CMD demo. Here is the argument. See here. Our Java application, what is running is CMD demo. So here you have argument tab and you write some message. Hello, this is command line argument and say apply. Okay, that's all you have to do. Then close. Stop this application first and relaunch it. Relaunch. Look what happens. We had given the argument hello, comma, then there was a space, then this, again a space, is, again a space, command, again a space, line, again a space, argument, that. So all the tokens separated by space will be considered as one string object. That is why it becomes array of a string whose name is this. So this is how we demonstrated command line parameters. How do we handle command line arguments to our Spring Boot application? Clear, guys? Now, as I said, yesterday we had created jar file, and we already knew that by creating jar file, we can create standalone kind of applications that we can deploy on particular system. But when we are trying to deploy on cloud, that is like website, so that it can be accessed from anywhere, for that we need to create war file. Remember guys, for that we are supposed to create war files. Okay. So for creating war files, we have to go to a string initializer and create a new application. I am just giving the name var demo. That's all. Already dependencies is there. And here, don't forget this. Here you have to change the packaging from jar to var. Remember, when you are supposed to create var file, the purpose will be to deploy into some uh, container like which supports Java language Tomcats. So in that you have to choose the packaging options to are. Okay, the packaging options where you are supposed to choose. Then you have to the version is 8 already. Other things are okay. Now generates. So we have var demo. It is got downloaded and I saved it. Then I have to go there and var demo uncompress. Track got extracted. Var demo. What I have to do is to import it into the project. Haven next browse var demo select okay it's okay so finish it's var demo configure. Now what error it is giving? Let me remove this and try once again. Import existing next browse var demo. That is why in this folder we have. So this is exactly you have to locate. Select
Sir,
gives
by mistake you have imported CMD demo, sir.
8 minutes. Let me cancel. Let me import it. Okay. Next var demo. Var demo. So here you have. Now select finish. Now project is getting ready. Resource. Put here var demo. Now we will first of all create REST API. That is one class. So let me say test just one class test controller. So you have to annotate it with test controller, and in that there will be a service method. Let's say uh, public methods. I'm having a string return type and method some suppose test as usual. Then I'm having some messages to be displayed on standard output just to check. That's all. This is for demo. This is not going to be useful. Let it be. Return some masses, good masses. Suppose this is for demo. Let me have some tag. Suppose H1, so it's bold kind of thing, big as a title. H1 tag, you know. Now you have to annotate it with get, sorry, get mapping. So let's have mapping here. So now let's save. So now this is
Sir,
the application. Ah,
I think you have missed backslash. I think in Git mapping, will it work without backslash
it
at
will.
the?
Yes, it will work.
Okay,
Slash
sir.
back first class is it is default.
Okay, sir.
Whether you give or not, it will work. Okay, but let me have. You can try. It will work without. I think yesterday I had given in 2 3 applications without slash also to just show you. Okay. Anyway, so save it. No issue. Uh, First of all, close the server which was running earlier instance. Here, when you do the right click, no, in where is that war demo application? When you do the right click here, so now you don't have to run like this. It is not going to run directly from here because we have created var file. We are supposed to create var file. That is why we have done all those configurations. We downloaded the package codes. Now, before proceeding to create var file, one small entry we have to make into the form XML file. That while creating jar also you would have done. हमने नहीं किया था. That is why the jar file name was quite long. So for that, here you have a tag called final name. Final name, look, it is showing. So final name, the jar file or var file, whichever it is, gets created. उसका हम कौन सा नाम रखना चाहते हैं, that name we have to supply. Let's say I am giving var demo. The name, same name, let me give var dash demo so that we will not have any confusion. Okay, let me save. After this thing is done, this entry, if I don't give this entry, then like yesterday, the name will be quite long. Okay, so now as usual, you have to click on the project, right click, go run as, same step like previous day. Then you have Maven. Here you have new configurations. Let's give name var demo. Could be any name it can be, and you have to specify that directory where you are, where the project is. Okay, and goal it is install. Same like previous day. then no need to check here. So skip test right now. If everything is set, we press apply. Once it is applied, this step is similar like earlier, previous day, what we created the jar file. Then we have to press run. If everything is running, we will get this message. Let me enlarge this concept, build success. Now you have to do the refresh here. Refresh. Once we refresh, let's see the target. In target, what we have? Var demo. Got it? Now this var demo is ready to be deployed into a Java compatible web container like Tomcat. So I will just copy this file and I'm moving to the process of deployment. Now for deployment, what we are supposed to do? I have to open the Tomcat folder where to deploy. So I have installed Tomcat my system on my system in D drive, program files, Apache Foundations, Tomcat 8, and this is the web apps folder. Here you have to do this kind of deployment like that's all. Now the var file has been copied. अभी आपके सिस्टम पे जहाँ पे Tomcat इंस्टॉल्ड होगा उसके वेब एप्स फोल्डर में जाके इसको कॉपी पेस्ट करना. And one thing you remember, now let me see whether my Tomcat is running or not. अब ये Tomcat अभी Eclipse पे नहीं रन होना है. Now अभी यहाँ पे कोई भी एप्स नहीं रन हो रहे हैं. Now let's go to localhost. Hello, localhost. Localhost and see my Tomcat is running or not. So Tomcat is stopped. So let me restart my Tomcat server. How do we do that? Go to Task Manager. See the service. In this service, you find just press TOMCAT Tomcat. See here, Tomcat 8 is stopped. Tomcat 8 by default, whatever I have installed is at port 8080. So when it starts, it is now running. Now, when this page is reloaded, just wait for a while. This Apache Tomcat page appears. If it appears, means Tomcat is running. Now, in the web app, the file which was deployed. So now this web app will have many projects, many applications running. So how will it detect our project? So the name of var file becomes the name of the project. So var/demo. Now go to here and write war dash demo. Okay. Let's enter. Now see the same error page we got. This is the default error page. We would have already seen while running from that. Because here I have not mentioned that URL and the URL path name URL name was test. When I say test, now see we got the result. So this is how our applications created as will be deployed, and for deployment on cloud we have to create war file, and the name of war file will become the name of project. That is what we have to mention, and then all the APIs, interface, URL name, whatever it is, that has to be mentioned. Is it okay? The steps were almost similar. Only what we have to do is that while downloading it from Spring Initializer, we don't have to forget mentioning what. Got it? Now, that's all right now here. Now we will see the our most awaited topic called microservices. You know, guys, why do we create microservice? A very one idea we should understand first. Earlier, 2 3 years back, till 70 and all. Normally, when we sit to develop one application, so one applications will have many services. So by considering our complete design, one large application is built which will be containing many services, which will be containing many services. That kind of application is called monolithic applications. Okay. Now let me see. Let me display the PPTs of today's. So let's show it full screen. Is it visible? Now
Yes, sir.
we will have some basic knowledge of microservices that will help us to create, help us to understand. So what is microservices basically? It is a service-oriented architecture pattern wherein applications are built as a collection of various smallest independent service units. Independent service units. Nutshell में one application is broken into many sub applications. एक लाइन में अगर समझना है, rather than confusing ourselves into the different words, एक large application, so one large application is broken down into several sub applications, and every application जिसमें break किए, मान लो one application is containing 10 services. Now that one application who is having 10 services will be broken down into 10 different applications, and every application will contain a service, and every application running independently, maybe at different locations, maybe at different server. So the advantage is, because the size of applications becomes smaller, smaller, alag alag. So their maintenance, their updations are easier, and they can be separately developed by individual programmers and integrating individual programmers. That's it. We just need to have a user interface that is a common frame where I'm just going giving request to every individual services and getting back the result of that. So every service, this is the architecture of microservices. जस्ट लाइक तो वी हैव अब क्योंकि सारे सर्विसेज अलग अलग सर्वर पे इंस्टॉल्ड हो सकते हैं, डिप्लॉयड हो सकते हैं, तो सारे तो एक साथ डाउन भी नहीं हो जाएंगे. So among our services, if we are such kind of we are providing such kind of service to the world, then maybe because of hardware failure or something like that, few of my service will keep on working and few will become down. But on the other hand, when it is being developed as a large application, the scene is totally different. That's the basic concept. So, two types of architecture are there. One is monolithic architecture, and the other one is micro services service architecture. Here, by this simple diagram, I'm trying to explain you that this is a complete one applications which internally contains different six different services inside this. Just like so, there will be a user interface, there will be different business logic and data accessing layer connecting to a database from where all the informations are maintained, fetched, stored, etc. So by this diagram, we can understand that one large application what we build, maybe in an organization, maybe we are having some software kind of thing like uh, we are maybe creating for institute, for a school. So there will be a service by using which the students can get enrollment into the school. A student can pay their fees. A student can know the, but now see, for making fee payment, the one student should know what is their fee details, then only he can make the payment. So these are all different services. So in one applications, we have to sit and design all at one umbrella that is called monolithic architecture. And when all this fits into broken down into six applications, that is called microservice architecture. अब आपका एक एप्लीकेशन था, यूं समझ लो कि यू वर हैविंग ओनली one project earlier. Now you have six different projects, and each project, that is application, is doing their job independently. Naturally, there has to be a user interface design. How dynamic in nature is this? First, user interface, what you have designed, whatever facility it requires, for every facility, it will pass request to different microservices, and that microservices independently fetch data from the database. And also, there may be a situation that the microservices may communicate in between two services among themselves. So all this kind of communications will take place in order to serve their task. And once the task is done, the result of that microservice will be returned back to the client. This is the architecture. Now, the advantage of this architecture is independently they can be developed by individual users, individual programmers, easy to maintain, easy to deploy, and not only that, think one complete project contains suppose 5,000 line of code. Now, when you are developing monolithic architecture, maybe in Eclipse, then that Eclipse IDE has to load the entire set of lines, all those memory stuffs, all those configurations into the memory. Now, on the other hand, when one application is broken down into 5 or 6 applications, then that 5,000 line, that stuff is divided into 5 or 6 parts. So let's say those applications, every application contains somewhere 1,000 line approximately. So the size of that project also becomes smaller. So to handle that by using any supporting softwares, will have less pain, less overheads. There are a lot of advantages, but there are some drawbacks also. On together, if you compute the size, then some code gets increased. But that disadvantage is not a big thing. That can be managed. That can be compromised by looking at advantage. Okay. Now, there are some points which I have mentioned already. I have talked the comparisons between microservices and monolithic architecture. Here you can see this column refers to microservices and this column refers to monolithic architecture. Every unit of entire application should be the smallest and it should be able to deliver one specific business goal. Now see, while developing service, it is fixed that one every service should provide, every service should implement only one business law, particular logic. It should not develop more than one. It should not handle. That's the against of the design of that. That will lead yourself, ourselves into problem. So for every services, separate microservices has to be created. So lot of advantages there. You can read all those. Not a big thing. We are slowly moving on to the more technical aspects. Now, what is the principles of creations of microservices? Already I said single responsibility principle. What does it mean? A class or model in a program should have only one responsibility. Only one responsibility. Like in applications, there is a payment issue, then that microservice is responsible for only payment matters, nothing else. Bill creation is a process. So there should be a microservice which can only do that job. No two responsibility should be mixed. That is the principles of microservices. Understand this, keep in mind. Model around business domain. Microservice never restricts itself from accepting appropriate technology or database. Like already I said, since there will be separate applications, they can be deployed at different uh, locations. Naturally, their different databases might be there. So that particular applications, even they would have been developed into different language also. There is no foundations that only we create microservices in only Java. It is not that we can use PHP and other languages also available. So it's just kind of communications through URL. You're just asking to some other site, just like thing that some other applications. So naturally here, there becomes the intercommunications between two applications. Like intercommunications we have created similarly Milta Julta word. So we are communicating, performing communications between two independent applications. They can be deployed independently. all these kind of principles you have to follow while creation of microservice. Next, there are certain challenges also. Microservice becomes costly sometimes because it might be installed at different locations, at different server, at different space, naturally to manage all those many different infrastructure and people might be needed also. But the kind of advantage what we have to do the compromise of all with all such things. Okay, so these challenges, most of the main challenges are few more technical than more logical. Okay, just read that now. This is very important, guys. Look at this. Can you see this screen? Now, as far as the technicality is concerned, there are many ways in which microservices can be created. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now see here on this screen what you are seeing. In this PPT, I have tried to summarize all those basic informatic knowledge about microservices. Now this page is giving you the technical requirements to build up the microservice. All this kind of software, tools, we don't say software, tools, apart from what already we are having, that is required. Config server, config clients, train clients, Ribbon, Eureka naming server, Joule API gateway, SOAP, Spring Clouds, and a String i6. String spreads 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 3 more. Erlang, RabbitMQ, and Zipkin server. Now see here, out of this 12 tools which I have mentioned, every tool will have their own goal to serve. So slowly from tomorrow onwards, we will be keeping one by one these tools in coming uh, classes. And there only I shall explain you what is the purpose of these tools, how do we use them, and we will create in front of you. Nothing will be pre-created because once I create, then of course it consumes a bit more time. But you get sufficient time in order to understand and see all the kind of stuff, all the kind of error what we get during development. And only when we check out those errors carefully, then only we learn the internals about the language. So out of these 12 tools, all these tools what I have already mentioned, that these are available as a string dependency. So for this, we don't have to take extra pain. They can be, they will be downloaded from Spring Initializer itself. But apart from this, there are 3 softwares which has to be downloaded by using these links and install before we are going to use them. They are Erlang software, RabbitMQ, and Zipkin server. So these are the tools. All already after the end of the class, I shall share this on PPT slide on cloud, videos, and today's code also. So you can download them and see. Now, one thing we have learned that microservices will have in developing this uh, new project creations idea by using microservices. So in this idea of creations of project development, what will happen? There will be many independent applications and all together forms our complete applications, one software. So just you have to design the user interface which communicates. So user interface will be simply a panel kind of thing that is only which is viewed by the end user. The end user supplies the data to the software to our projects and to and fro. But on the background, request is simply sent to the different applications and get back the results. Independent application. So naturally, there needs to be a communications between two different applications. Now, today we will try to develop that kind of concept where communications between two applications will take place. Right now, we are trying to develop that is what is called inter-applications communications, we can say. And that will give us a clear picture idea of creation of microservices. Okay. So before the microservices was invented, the different applications used to communicate in this particular manner, which I am going to show you right now. Okay. So as we will require all these tools, then only we will install. Right now we don't need it. Whenever we require Erlang, RabbitMQ, Zipkin server, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, whenever we will need them, we will know the purpose of them, we will download and we will install. Okay. Now I'm going back to my application, the Eclipse ID. Close all. Let me clear this console also. Everything is terminated. Now, as already I told you that we are going to establish communications between two independent applications. So let me first of all create two applications, two fresh applications. Let's say I'm creating app one. Okay, var file अब var नहीं अब jar होना है and only this much is needed. That's all. App one gets created. Generated app one. Save. Then one more applications I need to create. Let's say app two, because I want to establish communications between two individual applications. So first app 1 and second app 2. Got it? So app 2 gets downloaded. So both the file I have downloaded. Now I minimize, and first of all I need to uncompress those. App 1, app 2 we have. First of all, let me uncompress tracks app 1. Okay, then app 2. That also got uncompressed. App 1, app 2. Now let let us import that project. First of all, app 1. Next, app 1, app 1, app 1. That's all. Select, finish. App 1 came. Let me import app 2 also. Let me import this file, import, everything is okay. Then I have to check app 2. Sometimes this kind of mistake happens. Even today also it happened with me. So we have to check it carefully. Select. So app 1 and app 2 we got here. Now let me, as usual, now one thing remember, these are the two applications which will run concurrently. Because माइक्रो सर्विसेज में हम लोगों ने क्या देखा, एक एप्लीकेशन से एक लार्ज एप्लीकेशन को हम स्मॉलर इंडिविजुअल एप्लीकेशन पे ब्रेक करेंगे. हर एप्लीकेशन को तो पैरेलली रन करना चाहिए गाइस. So by default we know that when we run our applications it will occupy port 8080. And one mistake also, already I am running a separate instance of Tomcat web server on port 8080 by default. So see here it is running. So let it be. I am not going to use that port 8080 right now. So for both the applications, app 1 and app 2, I shall try to use different ports. So there is a applications.properties. Applications.property. I gave suppose 9090. Okay, and then save it. So my app 1 is running at 9090. Similarly, my app 2 will run on some other port. अभी तो दोनों concurrently रन करेगा, maybe 9090. So you don't forget to configure the server port number on which the Tomcat will run. Got it? So now let me close both the windows. Now let's have this code. See here. Let me give some messages. Some messages. हमारा ये कौन सा है? App 1 है. So app 1 is running. Okay. Similarly, I shall specify the masses for app 2 also. यहाँ पे मैंने मेंशन कर दिया app 2 is running. यहाँ पे मैंने मेंशन कर दिया app 1 is running. Now let's create controller in both. So let me create one controller that is called REST controller. We will create, that is API basically, applications program interface. So the controller REST API is what we are creating. That is why we are saying REST API. So that is called REST controller. Okay. So let me click here and get a class. And here I am saying app 1 है, तो मैंने इसका नाम दे दिया app 1 controller. Which we named it. That's it. So we got it. Now here we have to annotate REST controller, and then we need to define a service, public string. Okay. Now let's say app 1 service. App 1 SERVIC. Don't forget here. Okay. Now you have to associate get mapping. Let's say the mapping name I am mentioning only app 1. Okay. So return a message. Let's say H1 and some message. This is APPLICACION application 1. Okay. Now see here. ये applications 1 हो गया. Return this is okay. So we created a controller. Now I need to have one APIs in our controller number 2 also. Okay, guys. Here we are having app 1 controller. Now I think we can first of all check app 1. So to app 1, what port number I had specified? 9090. When I run this app 1, app 1. So let me run this app 1. If everything is fine, here we got the message app 1 is running. अब इसके बाद क्या करना है? I shall go to this. Now let me change it to, rather than 8090, and here I have mentioned class app 1. So this is applications 1. We are getting the message. Okay, running at port 9090. Now Now we need to create one more controller, not one more controller, sorry, one controller in this app2 also. So we will do the right click, create a new class. Sorry, हाँ कहीं भी यहाँ भी कर सकते हैं, यहाँ भी कर सकते हैं. We will do the right click. So it is giving the path package name com.ph.app2, com.ph.app2 here it is. And here, like earlier, here I have to give app to controller. App to controller. Finish. तो दोनों में बोथ द सर्विसेज के अंदर हमने एक क्रिएट किया. लेट्स हैव REST controller, and then here you have to have annotate the methods. Get mapping. हम यहाँ पे app2 देंगे. app2 public string, है ना, कोई भी method name in that controller what I had given. Let's app service, app1 service. Let me just do the copy paste. So here I shall write this is application 2. Is it okay? Now just save this. So our applications 2 is ready, guys. What happens now? Let me close the first applications which was running, and for second applications, what is the port number we have configured? We have configured the port number 9091. Okay, so let me close first. Now our second applications will run on the port 9091. We'll go to browser, and the URL pattern we have written app2. So let me open one more browser and do the copy and paste, and we will change app2 running at port 9091. Let's see what's giving error. I think we have not executed. That is why. So we will have applications here. app2 applications. Let us execute first. अभी तो run हो ही नहीं रहा. Now we are having running one. Now you can see two applications we are running, app1 and app2. App2 is running at Tomcat port 909. Let's go to the browser, and as soon as the Tomcat got started by Eclipse, we got this message. This is applications 2. In port 9090, we have this is applications 1. At this port, both the ports you are seeing here. So both applications are running. Every application will run at different ports, remember. Now, till this point, everything we are just revising, same steps already we have seen. how to create Spring Boot project. Now, crux, the main point starts from here. Let's go to this. Two applications are running. Now you can see here, uh, this is display selected console. You are seeing this a small icon. You just press this. Okay. So console is there is error in console. Let me see. Applications one. Let me applications one is 909. Let me close both the applications. App 2 is running. Why this is stuff is not. 1 second. See the browser. App 2 has been stopped. That is okay. Let's see here. Acha, acha. Both the servers are stopped. That is why it was not. App 1, App 2. Okay. Let me clear this. Everything is terminated. Remove launch. Okay. Okay. Now both the applications are running. Now here my point is, this is applications one, and this is a controller for applications two. Similarly, for applications two, this is applications two, and this is controller for applications two. So in same sequence, I have opened the file. Clear console. Now, my point is, now here, अभी तक यहाँ पे कुछ नई बात नहीं थी. Now, what I want that my app 1 communicates to app 2. So, app 1 service, this is the service method of app 1 controller. So, as into my design, app 1 communicates to app 2. App 1 communicates app 1 communicates to app 2. This is what is my desirable goal. So how it is done? There is, now guys, here we have to learn one or two, a couple of classes. There is a class called REST template. REST templates, let me type REST template. Look at it. REST template is the central class of Spring Framework. which is used to uh, share resources, that is common in simple sentence used to this templates object is responsible to communicate from external applications, that is another application. So let's create REST templates RT instance variable name मैंने छोटा सा दिया new, so you have to instantiate. So this is a class. So remember, REST template is the class of central class of core Spring framework, main Spring framework. क्लास हो गया central, sorry, REST template. Okay. Now the method, there is a method called whose name is get for entity. So RT dot, look at this, get for entity. This is the method which you have to call. This method we will call argument method. The first parameter of get for entity of REST template method is the name of URL, that is the name of API to which you have to communicate. मेरा काम क्वेश्चन क्या था? API wants to communicate, API 1, applications 1 wants to communicate with applications 2. So we have to get the address of applications 2. So this is second application and this is first application. Right now both applications are closed. So let me copy down this path and paste here. Okay. So we got the second URL of second API, second REST API. This is the URL. So you have to supply the URL, complete URL name to this method called get for entity. Now, what this method is? This method returns object of type response entity. Let's say a response entity. These are the things which you have to remember. So response entity object is returned by the method get for entity method of REST template class. Okay, so let me have instance variable for response entity. I'm having RE. And remember, here you have to specify the types of parameter which is being returned back from that this URL. This is the target service URL. Target service URL. And I am assuming that data which is returning by this get for entity method of those target URL is into the form of a string. It is of a string type. So the second parameter you have to specify the return type name. Remember. So this is what are the two parameters of get for entity and response entity. Okay. So response entity and REST template. These are the two classes what you have to remember, and you have to make a study of those classes. Now after this, get for entity returns the response of this class. And for getting that response, you have RE, that is method of what is that called? Response entity class. And that method is get body. Look at the string return types. This is HTTP entity which is returning. So it returns a string type. Suppose response I'm writing RES is equals to this. The values of local variable res is not used. Okay. So now the thing is we are about to complete. Let's see carefully the new things. So what today we added is only these two kind of stuff. One is REST template class, another one is response entity class. These are the two classes of central classes of Spring framework whose task is to communicate with external APIs and get back the result. Now, let me try to print the response what we get back from the second URL. Let me have after this one is called horizontal ruler line, HR tag, and then I am printing response. Okay, guys. Now I think my application is ready. So app 1 is getting response from app 2. So at this point, what happens? App 2 is a server API and app 1 is a client. किसको चाहिए? app 1 को चाहिए. कौन सप्लाई कर रहा है? app 2. तो app 2 sorry, app 2 serves to app 1. So at this moment, app 2 is serving, so it's a server or serving to app 1, so app 1 is a client. Now, first of all, both the applications needs to be executed. So both the applications have been stopped. Let's first of all run applications 2 because applications 2 is a server. So let me run the applications 2. But don't forget to configure the port. क्योंकि अगर आप भूल जाओगे तो by default both will try to run on the same port, but in resulting of that what will happen, the first application to run हो जाएगी and second applications will fail to start. So app 2 is running. Now you can see that, check the website. This is app 1. app 1 को रिफ्रेश करके देखते हैं. app 1 तो हमने स्टार्ट किया नहीं है. It will not show you anything, but I have started app 2. So app 2 is giving. So my app 2 server is running first. Now let's go to here and launch app 1 also. बारी बारी से दोनों को हमें लॉन्च करना है. app to execute it. App 1 is also running. Now see here. Let me make it bigger. First of all, let's check here. Uh, make it large screen. Here you have display selected console. Look this. Now two consoles are running. That is why we have these two. Now, so this is the console for app 1 and this is a console for app 2. App 2 is running. Okay. दोनों ऐप रन कर रहा है. Now this is the crux here. When I run app 1, what is the result of app 2 API? This is applications 2. When it runs, let's see. Got the thing? This is the message of app 1 and this is a message which we are getting from app 2. So now this is how. See the beauty, see the code. Let me close this app 2 just for checking purpose. Let me close this app 2. Here app 2 is running. Terminate app 2. App 2 got terminated. App 2 is terminated. App 1 is running. Now see, go to the browser. App 2 तो stop हो गया है. We can check this. App 2 has been stopped. But in app 1, after this horizontal ruler line, you can see the code. Just for a moment. Look, HR, horizontal ruler line, it will display. After that, it is displaying the response returned by this. Now, second API, the kind of data what second server will send, that will be displayed here. Now let me refresh the page and see what happens. It displays the error. That is true because here it is getting the request response data from this second API, but that is server is down. So this line generates exceptions, but unfortunately we haven't handled those exceptions like what we did into the previous sessions. So in a real project or program, we will have to do that. We will have to handle those and proper messages should have been displayed. Okay guys, so let me to work this, what we have to do? We have to relaunch the second app server, second application. So the second application got started. Now soon after starting second application, let me run the first application. So this is how two individual independent applications communicate by using REST template and REST response entity. Now, this controller can have any number of services, service 1, service 2, service 3, and so on. And when it is having any number of services, it has to have this 2 or 3 set of lines in repeatedly written in every service. बार बार हमें लिखना होगा. So professionally, that is a kind of irritating task and that is unprofessional. Also from the maintenance point of view, When things needs to be updated, every functions you have to go and do the change. Now here, to solve this problem, this kind of communications technique were used earlier before the string microservices came into the picture. Before microservices, we used to do this kind of communication, which I have done here. Here also, we could communicate it between two apps, remember, and every apps are running. So this is the way earlier application used to be broken into sub applications and they establishes communication. This is how we do. Now, here is the process. The most irritating and this kind of task is this highlighted line which I have written, I have highlighted keeps on repeating in every services what we create. And for this, the answer is creation of microservices. Read, try to understand all the today's codes and the PPT slides, every information's recording within half an hour that will be uploaded on clouds. Sorry, Google Drive. That is same. You can download it, and tomorrow the answer for this type of problem will be the creation of microservice, different microservices. Now, while creation of microservices, we shall be using different tools. We shall be using this different set of tools. Tomorrow, I don't think that we may require these Erlang, Rabbit, MQ, Jenkins server, and so on. So slowly, you have to understand concepts of each and every tools. Why do they are used? How they are used? What are the merits, demerits, and their goal, their purpose to serve. Okay, so I think you would have understood the code. Now you can sit and implement all this code I shall share. And with these concepts, I'm ending today's session. Okay, guys,
Yes, sir. So I'm the only one in the class, unfortunately.
what we can do if people, unless they take it seriously, I don't think that anyone can learn. I tried my best to make these things simpler and easy, though
I'm
they are.
enjoying. I'm enjoying it, sir. I'm really loving it.
That is good. That is good. Sufficient. है. So I think only for you this all kind of things we are doing. Anyway, now it is up to them. No one can do. So I'll share after this. Until
Yes.
then, good night. Okay, bye
Good night.
bye.